the Household Division of the British Army, made up of 5 foot guard regiments and 2 household cavalry regiments. They're responsible for performing public duties around London and Windsor. But some of these soldiers have a history much deeper than public ceremonies. Johnson Beharry is one of them, and is a recipient of the highest and most prestigious decoration in the British Army, the Victoria Cross. He's certainly a soldier to be reckoned with. Let's take a look at his story and how he earned such a high honor. Beharry was born in Grenada and moved to the UK in 1999. Shortly after, in 2001, he joined the Princess of Wales Royal Regiment. He trained at Catterick, where he learned to drive Warrior Armoured Vehicles, serving for C Company, 1st Battalion. 3 years later, he was deployed to Iraq. This is where the first of his heroic actions played out. In the early hours of May 1, 2004, Beharry's company was ordered to replenish an isolated coalition force outpost located in the center of the troubled city of Al-Amara. As they were approaching the location to carry out the replenishment, they were tasked with a new mission: to fight through a series of ambushes to rescue a foot patrol. The patrol had called for help after being pinned down by small arms fire, heavy machine gun fire, IEDs, and rocket-propelled grenades. Beharry responded and drove his Warrior-tracked armored vehicle to their assistance, followed by 5 others. On their approach, the convoy noticed that the road ahead was empty of civilians and traffic. This is a common indicator of a potential ambush, so the platoon commander ordered Beharry to stop so he could assess the situation ahead. At this point, the commander's suspicions were confirmed. The vehicle was struck by multiple rocket-propelled grenades, with the eyewitnesses reporting that the 30-ton vehicle was physically rocked by the explosions. The Warrior suffered some damage, which caused the loss of radio communications, and a number of soldiers inside were injured, including the platoon commander and the gunner. Beharry had no idea if the rest of his crew were alive, as all communication was lost with his turret crew and the rest of the convoy. On his own initiative, he closed the driver's hatch and proceeded into the ambushed area, stopping just short of a barricade across the road. After being struck by more RPGs, the Warrior caught fire and the vehicle began filling with noxious smoke. With no visibility or clean air, Beharry was forced to open his hatch to see where he was driving and to clear the vehicle. As the leader of the 6-vehicle convoy in an ambush in enemy territory at night, he had no choice but to continue. Undeterred, Beharry drove the battered vehicle directly into the ambush, despite not knowing if there were mines or IEDs on the other side of the barricade. As he was able to regain some form of sight with the smoke leaving the vehicle, he could make out the glow of yet another RPG flying towards the vehicle. He closed the driver's hatch with one arm while driving with the other, but the overpressure from the explosion forced the hatch out of his hand. Flames from the explosion poured into the vehicle and down the driver's hatch, directly over Beharry's body and the rest of the unconscious crew. During the explosion, he suffered severe burns to his face, and his armored periscope was damaged so he could no longer see at all. Beharry was forced to drive the remaining mile with his head out of the driver's hatch so that he could see where he was going. The whole time his head was directly exposed to enemy fire, where he sustained more burns from RPG explosions and a close call with a 7.62mm bullet which penetrated his helmet and became lodged on its inner surface. Despite experiencing the harrowing pressure of incoming enemy fire, Beharry pushed through the lengthy ambush until his platoon broke clear. With his head out of the hatch, he managed to identify another warrior from his company and followed it to an outpost. Once outside the outpost, Beharry climbed out of the vehicle, ignoring the small arms fire surrounding his position. He removed his unconscious platoon commander from the burning vehicle and dragged him to the other warrior. He then returned to the vehicle and climbed up the exposed turret to retrieve his gunner and bring him to safety before returning yet again to lead the rest of the disoriented casualties. One last time, he ran across to the burning vehicle. This time he climbed in and drove it through a complex entrance of the outpost to deny the enemy from capturing the vehicle. He pulled the fire extinguisher handles, immobilizing the vehicle before he promptly collapsed, due to the mental and physical weight of the ordeal he had experienced. Beharry, his crew, and 5 other Warrior crews received medical attention and were evacuated from the outpost. Now you might think this is heroic enough in itself to secure some kind of commendation, but Beharry's story doesn't stop there. While back on duty on June 11, 2004, just 1 month later, Beharry was once more driving the lead warrior in a convoy through Alamara as a part of a quick reaction force tasked with cutting off a mortar team that had attacked coalition forces. In very similar fashion to the last story, an RPG struck the vehicle just 6 inches from Beharry's head after the convoy was ambushed from rooftop positions. He received severe shrapnel wounds to his face and even his brain, with blood obscuring his vision and the deafening explosion and metal in his brain disorienting him significantly. Another series of rocket strikes occurred, incapacitating his commander and injuring several more of his crew. Unbelievably, Beharry was able to stay awake after the ordeal and retain control of the vehicle, which he reversed out of the ambush. He managed to keep the vehicle moving before it struck a wall behind them. However, this was enough to remove the crew from the kill zone. Beharry promptly lost consciousness as a result of his injuries, but his efforts put him and his crew in a much more secure location for evacuation, where they were able to be extracted from the area. As a result of his injuries, Beharry fell into another coma and underwent brain surgery, from which he was still recovering in March 2005 when he was awarded the Victoria Cross, the highest decoration awarded for valor in the face of the enemy. On a separate note, outside of the military, Johnson Beharry also saved a family of neighbors from a burning building when their house caught fire. A true hero. Beharry now serves the King of England in the House Division. After he intentionally drove his car into a lamppost at 100 miles per hour, Beharry is also an advocate for veteran services to prevent people in similar situations from attempting the same fate. He also set up a charitable foundation, supporting youths from escaping gang culture in London, a testament to his physical and mental fortitude and his unwavering loyalty and service to his fellow man. Thanks for watching. Sergeant Rooster, over and out.